National Women's Soccer League finalists set. There was a weekend full of semifinals, and probably the highlight of the bunch, Marta, the Brazilian legend, does it again.
Yeah.
She put on a show, puts about 3-4 players on their backsides, and scored what became the winning goal in a 3-2 win over KC Current.
Do we have a word for this in soccer? I mean, because in basketball, you go up over somebody, you dunk on them, you got posterized, right? That's what we say. That became a thing because there's a poster of that moment, and you got posterized. Now you're on the poster with whoever going over the top and dunking on you. Do we have an equivalent in soccer? Because Marta did that in this game. I mean, that dropping two defenders to their butts with the same chop and then to cut it back the other way and get beat another defender, get the shot off. I mean, again, how old is she? 63, 64 years old, something like that at this point. I mean, I'm kidding. Younger than I am, Marta. Still getting it done. Incredible stuff. And this is we're talking about the MLS Cup playoffs, Robert, and how the top seeds got ousted in the East, and it's kind of changed the way people are thinking about these playoffs. And we have a problem in soccer where we do this thing where if the top seeds don't get through, well, the playoffs are invalid and they're terrible. And why are we doing this? This is not right. Of course, we don't.
We did it last week.
We don't do that in other sports. We just kind of go, oh, look, the wild card made the Super Bowl. Good for them. In soccer, we have a problem with it. In this case, the top seed goes in. The top two seeds make the final of the NWSL in 2024. And I guess, again, if it wasn't the two top seeds, I would say good for the teams that upset whoever they upset to get there. But this being the two top seeds, you can also say, oh, it's awesome that we get to see these two teams go up against each other. If we get to see Marta. And after, helping this Orlando team do what they did this season, top overall seed, get a chance to play for an NWSL final. Pretty incredible stuff.
The first semifinal on Saturday, Washington Spirit defeated reigning champions New York, New Jersey, Gotham FC in a penalty shootout. Packed house at Audi Stadium. Looked like a really good atmosphere for a very, very tight match.
Yeah, it was a noon kickoff in DC. We'll come to kickoff times later in the show.
Yeah,
but,
that's a topic.
Yeah, that's a topic. It was a noon kickoff in DC. I was otherwise indisposed. I was otherwise occupied with, kids and things and all this other stuff I got to do. So I didn't get to go. I would love to have been there, but from what I could tell, it absolutely was a raucous atmosphere. And this is what you love to see this, right? You love to see a city rally behind its teams, especially this team, remember that the Spirit, and then there have been the multiple leagues in women's soccer in America, and Washington's always had a team in them. This team used to play out at a soccer complex, right, in Boyd's, Maryland, which was where DC United would play Open Cup games and where the Maryland Bobcats were playing or are playing. I know they got booted from their league, but that's their home venue these days. It is, it's an hour from DC no matter when you drive. I mean, no traffic, it's an hour from DC, basically. It's not DC. It's not the kind of place that's going to kind of center everyone's focus when the hometown team is making a run to the final. Now that they play at Audi, and it's been a couple years now that they're playing at Audi and playing only at Audi because they were splitting games between 3 different venues at one point, it feels like the Washington Spirit is DC's team in a real way, and they've got great players. They've got great young talent that is tearing up the league at this point. I mean, I saw a whole article on Trinity Rodman's signature move, I think over The Athletic or something, and that's the kind of player that's going to get people excited. And we can say this, right? We can move past this idea that the NWSL is for young girls or for a certain kind of sports fan. No, it's for everybody because they play awesome soccer and they have players that can do pretty incredible things on the field. And the Spirit getting it done, I think, is good for soccer in DC. Especially, look, Gotham had an incredible run last year, and they didn't get to do that at home, the final, but they did win, and I think they elevated attention. And then that's another team, right? Graduating from sort of a exurban location where they played their games to the venue, the soccer venue in the New York metropolitan area, and I think capturing some attention because of it. It's good to see.
What was the Gotham FC? They were rebranded a few years ago when they were in the rural areas. Were they the New York Sky?
No, they were Sky Blue FC is what they
Sky
were.
Blue FC. So yeah,
Right.
definitely NWSL stepping into a new era just of professionalization and facilities and whatnot. And it was great to see just like I guess um what do you call it? Appreciating the world class talent that is in the American women's first division. I mean, you
Right.
look at the Orlando lineup. We got Marta, Dabinia, and the list goes on of just incredible world class players right here in the American backyard. And there's not many. You can't claim that the American soccer leagues are pushing like world's best. Other than
No,
in the
no,
NWSL.
that's exactly right. I think there are still some questions around the growth of the NWSL. What's the best approach for that? These are just debates that we're going to have, right? How much expansion is appropriate? What kind of spending can you do without jeopardizing the league's financial health? Of course, they've signed the deal with CBS that's got them a better platform. Again, you talk about we talk about the stage that they are provided by those deals. I mean, obviously coming out of the pandemic, coming out of the World Cup, building something, getting people excited. They've done unique and sort of aggressive things like get rid of the draft, which is going to be a fascinating thing to watch and see how it affects the league. There's always going to be a pull because of culture, and when I say that, I mean if you play in a place like France or Spain or Germany, there is a soccer culture around you that is very different than what we have in the United States.
Mm.
And of course, even if it's not the same sort of level of glory, there's the Champions League, right? You get to represent Lyon or Barcelona or whoever in the Champions League, and that still has cachet. And NWSL cannot offer that to the best players in the world. But if the league itself kind of becomes this Champions League level environment because everybody in the league has great talent, because the parity is a feature of American sports the way it's not in Europe. And so Barcelona is beating their league opponents 6-7-8-0 most of the time these days. That's great, and they obviously went and won the Champions League, and that's great too. But I think there's something to be said for I want to play against competitive teams every single week. And if I can do it in a league that's got not only the U.S. women's national team talent, but some of the other best talent in the world, if they're being attracted to this league, that is a very good sign.
So, NWSL final, pretty juicy. The top two seeds will face each other on Saturday night at 8 o'clock on CBS. Orlando versus Washington Spirit. If you were to pick a winner, is there
You're
there
making
one
me
that you
pick
could
a
lean?
winner. You're
I
making me
mean,
pick a winner. Orlando, the top overall seed, who had an incredible year, and the Washington Spirit, that play about 20 minutes from my house. Come on, Robert. What are you talking about? I got to go with the hometown team. That's heart, not head. Although I think it will be a very competitive match. What do we got? When is that happening? What's going down? Give us the details there.
it is Saturday night, 8 o'clock, CBS at the CPKC Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. So the Kansas City Current coming within a goal of playing a championship game in their home stadium, but not to
Yeah.
be. It is Orlando versus Washington.
Yeah, it's real quick on that before we move on. The neutral venue, right? I get it from an NWSL perspective, right? It's the same kind of reasoning MLS used for a neutral venue. You can control everything, you can plan everything, you get this long runway to using that venue for your showpiece event. Obviously, the television networks that are broadcasting your games, they prefer that because they can plan, they can get things ready, they know that the venue is appropriate for their cameras, where the camera's going to go, where their talent going to sit, those kind of things. But I do think we're going to lose that opportunity for the home crowd to be there backing their team in a final. And I imagine that one day, we will get there again, where the NWSL says, let's do a home final. The top seed, the higher seed gets the opportunity to host. But there are obviously some venue things in the NWSL that they have to deal with that make it a little bit more difficult. But great to see Kansas City get a chance to host this game.